They think that all cryptocurrency is dumb and should just be deleted. So, someone, nobody knows who, comes up with a code that needs to be farmed by thousands of computers using loads of electricity to find it. This code equals money. People use real money to buy it. Then some idiot, lose/mismanage all these bitcoins, and loses all the money. Now everyone is mad at him. Really? Bitcoin is basically a technology experiment that lost the plot, thanks to people with more money than sense. The technology behind it is valid, and may have uses, but Bitcoin is not the use. Could we have a useful cryptocurrency? I would like to think so, but it needs more thought. Guys, don't say that. My brother invested in crypto. Let him get out the money first. Then we will chop the head and put it on a pitchfork and show it to the villagers. Agreed. Coming from a background in finance and asset valuation and analysis, I never liked the idea. My cousin got on the Bitcoin trading bandwagon, encouraged others to join in, and then suddenly left the business. I find out about FTX's failure last week and put two together. I have the impression she lost all the money she thought she made. Yeah, no. Bitcoin didn't come close to even alternative assets emo. What's dumb is forfeiting the power to manufacture money. We the people should never have given that authority to governments. Before fiat, government printed money, there was a fixed supply of precious metals, which turns out to be an important property of money. Bitcoin returns the power to the people to produce money with a fixed supply. Literally one of the easiest things we can do to help the environment too. I spent a lot of time thinking I don't know what crypto is, but it sounds dumb. Then I actually learned what it was and realized it's about 10 times as dumb as I thought it was. Many online stores use Bitcoin, including some physical cell phone repair shops in my town of Winnipeg, MB. There is also at least 18 Bitcoin ATM machines that I am aware of in Winnipeg. Personally, I wouldn't say crypto is useless. If only my bank can make transactions as simple and quick as Bitcoin, then we can talk. It's very important for any transactions that want to stay private and are untrackable. It certainly has a real-world use, though mostly illegal, dark web transactions. Yes. Keeping machines constantly running costing money to sustain another currency is like Homer Simpson using an electric fan to turn his windmill in order to generate his own electricity. What bits of wisdom would you want to impart to your children? Sometimes it's okay to quit. Yes, persistence and hard work are generally good traits, but in some cases they can lead to burnout, or to working towards something you no longer actually want, just because you used to want it. It's okay to reevaluate whether a particular goal is still what you want, or whether the goal is still worth what you're sacrificing. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Never quit is the motto of people who don't understand the sunk cost fallacy. Just because they were your friend X years ago, it doesn't mean you have to carry on being friends. As you grow older, things in life, both externally and innerly, change, which may cause you to drift apart, and that's perfectly okay. Don't feel guilty of letting a friendship go. They were great to have in one part of your life, but now is a new chapter and it's time to let go and move on. Be grateful for the time you had together and accept that they're no longer good for you. Don't be afraid to say no. You don't owe anyone anything. Also, never feel shame for being yourself. Most things you think you should be ashamed of are normal anyways. Clean a little every day so you don't have to clean a lot once a week. These are all things I still have trouble with myself. Always speak up for yourself and use your voice. Know that they can trust me with anything they want to tell me. I've been there and I would only want what's best for them. Aim as high as you can. Even if you land below your goal, you still might end up achieving more than you could had you set realistic expectations and quit. Have compassion for yourself and others. And my dad instilled this one in me that I pass along to everyone. Never let your right hand know what your left hand is thinking and quit. The one thing I say to my kids who are now 18 and 26 over and over again is nothing stays the same, everything changes, and quit. You cannot control anyone but yourself and your reactions. And quit. The first thing is great because kids' brains don't fully develop till they're in their late 20s, and one of the effects of that is they get tunnel vision and think everything is forever. I want to raise them in love and I want to be individuals of their own choices. I wish they would follow a culture of respect towards other humans in the community, and be grateful for what they have been blessed with and work towards what they want to achieve. I want them to be happy humans and not fall into any depression Tumblr teen era lols. The world is full of smart people with no drive. Do the best you can with what you have and stop comparing yourself to other people. You can get a lot farther than most with a good work ethic and a good attitude. What movie, TV or media content do you think absolutely aced the concept of the female gaze? Very recently, House of the Dragon. It did the female gaze so well. Not that male directors can't do the female gaze, see, The Last Jedi, but having some female directors for hot was a great choice. Pride and Prejudice, 2005. The moment when Mr. Darcy flexes his hand after touching Lizzie's is extremely romantic. Magic Mike XXL is also a strong contender. Surprisingly, a lot of LGBTQ+ movies/shows that center around a MXM relationship. They show men being vulnerable for once, and I love that. I'm currently a bit obsessed with young royals, and Wilhelm is a prime example of this emo. He's gentle and sweet and kind, but he's also grown comfortable being himself towards the end, dealing with his anxiety and not conforming to gender stereotypes. He's not afraid to feel sad, to talk about how he's feeling as to ask the same of at least the few people he's close with. He's just not afraid to show pain. He doesn't think for a moment that that's gonna make him less man or whatever dumb reason. I Am Not an Easy Man and Quat. It's a French film in which a misogynist playboy hits his head and wakes up in a world where men's and women's roles are reversed. I thought it was brilliant, personally. Call Me By Your Name. Sure, it's about two men, but wow. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Raw, anything Julia Ducournau. Censor. Braid. A League of Their Own, series and film. Eve's Bayou. Yellowjackets, Feral Girl Horror. The Lost Daughter. The Novice. The Babadook, anything Jennifer Kent. Queen Sugar, only watched 2 seasons, but it's all female directors and just gorgeously filmed. Jennifer's Body, it's time for women to reclaim it. At some point here I just started listing stuff made by women, but I'd stand by any of these movies having centered women and done a good job of it. Wonder Woman, Nomadland, Virgin River, Fleabag, Insecure. It's kinda silly but I thought The Edge of 17, but I'm a cheerleader and The Craft were all surprisingly good at that. Also, Queen's Gambit, Little Women, Howl's Moving Castle. Magic Mike for a movie, True Blood for a show, though it had the male gaze down too. Dirty Dancing, female director who absolutely nailed it. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and Imagine Me and You, which is highly underrated. Who got away with murder that should be in prison right now? Nobody talks about it but Floyd Mayweather beat his wife for years. She was writing a tell-all book and pressing charges against him when she was found dead beaten in her car, parked in her driveway. They ruled it a drug overdose. Edit, Josie Harris was his GF not wife, my mistake. If you simply Google Josie Harris cause of death you will find many articles listing that she was found dead in her car parked outside of her home. Chantal Jackson, also accused Floyd of assault. I think it's easy to imagine that he paid a decent amount of money to keep this under wraps but you can still find articles on it. The grandson of the founder of Red Bull energy drink. He ran over a Bangkok police officer a few years ago while driving his Ferrari. But because his family is one of the richest in Thailand they were able to bribe absolutely everyone aside from the Thai public. He kept postponing going for an interview at the police station and eventually just flew out of the country on a private jet. His family has houses all over the world and he has been out of the country for years now. And because of how the statute of limitations works in Thailand every few years another charge gets dismissed. 14-year-old Conor Synthesymphone ran away from Jeffrey Dahmer and sought help from a woman named Glenda Cleveland, who called the police. Officers John Abel Churzik and Joseph P. Gabrish let Dahmer take him back to his apartment, where he was soon murdered. Can you imagine, 14 years old, a man just drilled a hole in your skull and poured boiling water into it, and you finally get away. You think you're saved, but the people who are supposed to protect you hand you back to your torturer, who kills you, and they don't even lose their jobs. If there's any justice in the afterlife, Bulchurzik and Gabrish are spending every second undergoing the same. They forced Conor back into my grandmother. She's the storybook definition of the sweet southern grandma to your face, but a true snake in the grass. Our entire family believes she murdered my aunt, her oldest daughter. Even with our constant efforts, police refuse to look into it. She is however on our city's most wanted list for burglary at 78-year-old. The scum who killed Junko Furuta, they got such light sentences for the crimes they committed. Miyano was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Minato received a 5 to 7 year sentence, Watanabe a 5 to 9 year sentence, and Joe an 8-year sentence. Deplorable and despicable, they should have all had life at the very least. What is the biggest problem affecting the most men today? I think mental health and the response to men's mental health is critical. Men continue to be vilified because of the rampant increase of reported sexual assaults. Men don't report their abuse, mostly due to shame. And if men do come forward with any issues regarding their mental status, they're labeled as weak. And the retort to these issues are, almost immediately women have it worse. And quote. Honestly, it'd be nice to actually be listened to. But it seems the only time men's mental health is ever taken into consideration is when we have to bring their body down from the noose. So I think it is pride, the lack of it. I live in a small town. There exists a workshop program for women, 3 LGBT associations and the men's shed was shut down by a woman who complained about it. There is not only no support for masculine activities but our culture is opposed to them. The social status of the trades is in the gutter despite the housing shortages and our society is almost on its knees with maintenance problems. If you look around the towns and cities they are filling up with derelict buildings. Restoring these should be happening but it is not. It is social. If this was economics we'd be forking cash out at anybody who looked at a hammer. Social conditioning that we can be anything we want to and then released into a system which alienates us. It leaves men vulnerable to poor mental health, feeling like failures, trying to box themselves into a restrictive view of what a man should or shouldn't be, wondering why following the rules they were given to be successful didn't pay off, etc. This then leaves them vulnerable to isolation, lack of socializing, suicide and grifters preying on these feelings so they can sell them a bogus self-improvement course. I think a lot of men would have benefited from some simple honesty when they were growing up and maybe taught useful resilience tools for adversity in their futures. That I don't have feelings or that my feelings don't matter. That I can't be insecure. That real men don't cry. That I should always make the first move. That I always should take the lead. That I should like sports. That I can't take photos of my daughter in public without some women wondering if I am a pervert. That women expect me to pay for everything. That I should be above 180 centimeters for a woman to swipe right but I can't say I want a woman that is below 70 kilograms. That I am expected to pay for the first date. That I get a harsher sentence because I am a male. That in a divorce I can't get custody because I can't possible take care of my children. Just some of the issues